Hey, if you've been following us for any amount of time, first, thank you very much. You've been waiting for this particular video. If you're new here, you popped in just in time. Go watch the other ones and come back. We have spent the past several videos showing you how we tore out the sofa bed in our 2017 Chinook Class B van. But in this video, we're going to cover why we did that, what we did instead, why we chose the building material we chose, how we designed it, and how we built it. Yes, all in this short little video. We're going to cover all of that.
Packed with entertainment.
It's going to be in fast forward most of the time, obviously. We decided to rip out the sofa bed that was in here and put in twin beds after our first camping trip.
Yeah.
Because it was so uncomfortable.
It brought whole new meaning to the term long weekend.
It did. Greta. We bought some mattress pads and tried that, and it was a thicker kind of uncomfortable. Is all it was. We were ready to sell all of this.
Oh, it was bad.
You were on RV Trader, though. I think you were putting it for sale, though, at some point in the night, weren't you?
I was. Yeah, I was done. I said, this is a no for me.
He said, this is a hard no.
So somebody got the idea to rip out the sofa and put in real twin beds, which is really a great idea.
Was it me? Was it mine?
I think it was you, yeah.
It was a great
Now
idea.
that I've said it was a great idea, she'll take credit.
Yes.
Because that's how we travel.
Where's Jim? Is that side door open?
Yeah.
So he's probably gone.
So the first thing that I did was take a picture of the current setup with the bed laid down, with the sofa laid down, and asked ChatGPT to show me what this would look like if we turned it into twin beds. And it's pretty close.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty
Do you have a
close to
picture
what
of
we
that?
ended up with. I do, and I'm going to show
insert
those.
that here?
They will be right there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I jumped into full design mode and tried to figure out what to build twin beds out of. We had a starting point as the width that we wanted the mattresses to be, because we knew we wanted to put the Brooklyn Bedding mattresses in. We are not sponsored by Brooklyn Bedding. And I will take this time right here to say we reached out to Brooklyn Bedding to say, can we come tour your factory and maybe shoot some footage to show our viewers how those mattresses are made? We got a very polite email back that said, go submit your information at this site. And if we deem you worthy, someone will reach out to you. Silence.
But since we don't have the words keep your daydream in our name, nothing.
Happily ever what?
Right?
We're just a tiny channel. I understand
and
that.
that's okay.
you
We
know.
just thought it would be fun. And,
We weren't
you
looking
know.
for free.
No, absolutely not.
Because we
We just
knew
wanted
which
to
ones
tour
we
the
wanted to
factory
buy.
because it's right where we live.
So I'm not mad about it.
We still sleep on the Brooklyn Bedding mattresses.
So we knew the width of the beds that we wanted. I knew I wanted a walk-through space, which you can tell that we have,
Hallway.
right? But I didn't know what to build the beds out of. I knew we had three options. Well, when I started, we had an option of wood or aluminum, and it was like angled aluminum for toughness. And then I stumbled onto extruded aluminum, which if you don't know what that is, I will show you what that is. I wanted something that was strong. All three of those met that. I wanted something that was likely going to hold together in case of an accident. Wood did not meet that. Wood tends to just,
Like an accident on the road?
yeah. You don't need the wood breaking and impaling things and flying all around. I considered that, okay.
Okay.
And I wanted something that we could modify or take out fairly easily. If you've been with us since the beginning, you know we change our minds a bit once in a while.
What?
I know, it's crazy.
We don't.
This is our
Okay,
third
we do.
RV in as many years. I'm kidding, not in as many years. But extruded aluminum met that, and it's very strong, very lightweight, and so that is what we went with.
I love your use of the word we.
I just throw that around freely, don't I? Well, you were involved because I had to talk everything through.
That's true. I'm a listener.
yeah.
I'm a good listener.
So once I decided on the extruded aluminum, I had to figure out how to build what I wanted to build. And again, we had the dimensions fairly in mind, and the van also decided that for us, because obviously we're going from the back of the van to the front part of the van up against the fridge on one side and up against the kitchen on the other side. So we had that 77 inches that we knew we were dealing with there. So that dimension was started. We had the width, we had the length, great starting point. And then it was figuring out, how do I need to build this frame so that it will support this tiny person and this big fat guy weight? And we had to build around everything that's in the van. The water heater, the inverter, water pump, the wheel wells, all that kind of stuff. So took that into consideration as I was looking for where to buy this extruded
Also,
aluminum.
you had to make it not too tall so it didn't cover up the light switches
That's
on the
true.
side of the beds.
We knew that we were getting
contributed.
the 8-inch mattresses, and I knew that there would likely be a mattress topper on top of those.
You don't know me. Okay,
So,
maybe you do.
and we also had to clear the height of the water heater and the inverter with enough airflow to keep them from. So we had length, width, and height that we needed to deal with. I think they were 14 inches high to be able to fit everything in to be under the light switches. In searching for where to buy this extruded aluminum, in my research, I came across a company called 8020. It's 8020.net. And I did not buy my extruded aluminum from them. It was all a matter of price for that. I'm sure they have wonderful products. My favorite product of theirs was the CAD system that they have for free online that you can use to design whatever you are working on. In my case, it was a bed. So I'm going to demonstrate that here and talk about that here, right here. The program that I used to design the beds is called Idea Builder. I found it at 8020.net. Just go to Design Software, hover over that, click on Idea Builder, and then Try Now on that page. There's a shortcut that I have found. You can just go to ideabuilder.io and open right into this. So this is a 3D builder for extruded aluminum. I'm not going to make this a here's how you use everything kind of tutorial, but I am going to show you a few things that I found very helpful. One is you can switch from metric to imperial by going to View Settings, and then you just change your measure units, metric or imperial. So you can even you can even mix and match those as you go along, as I recall. The main thing you're going to use is probably this T-slotted. This is where you're going to find all your extruded aluminum pieces. I was working with 30 millimeter. So that was what I select. And then you're just going to grab one of these pieces, get it set there, and you can just drag and drop for whatever size you need like that, and then make your connection on it and pull it across. Boom. So my very first drawing that I did, I took all of the measurements off of the old sofa and the bed, what those cushions were, to use as a sort of a template for how I was going to build this thing. Here's a copy of that drawing. You can see how wide the cushions were. First, it was the space that I had between the sofa and the cushions where the fuses were and where the water lines ran. And then the areas that covered the water heater and the inverter on the other side. So you see the whole dimensions. The cushions were pretty much 25 inches wide on that box. And what covered the other two components was 16 inches wide. This also has how high in elevation everything was. So that started as my basic design. From there I drew, and I've saved copies of these along the way. So I have to, here we go. So you can see the very first bed drawing that I did came out something like that. Now, along with this T-slotted profile that you're going to use here, you'll also use this button, the pan, which is what gets you this moving around. You'll use orbit to rotate things. You can kind of see the 3D design there. And then you will use zoom to zoom in and out. And you can scroll with your mouse button for that, or drag on the screen to zoom in and out. This was the very first, very basic design for what I started doing. So when you click on these pieces, I have to go back to select, click on a piece, you can see what that is. That is a 1955.8 millimeter, which is about 77 inches. So the drawings progressed. I'll just grab one of these. We'll come midway through. We'll just do one of my beds. This is the bed, one of the designs that I did with the crossbars coming across this way for support. And since this is my bed, let me rotate this. This would be the space where the water heater is. And this, of course, this is where a wheel is over here. So I played around with the drawings, trying to figure out what the spacing is for these, for the support beams going through. Went up with one of the last beds. Getting towards the end here, you can, drag rotate here. Now we'll just zoom out a little bit so you can see kind of where we're going. This is where I had a bit more of the layout done. We're not quite there yet. So I'm going to drag this over, pull this up. So when you have the drawings here, you can do a file save as, and it will just save it wherever you want to save it. So you can have as many copies as you want. Absolutely amazing for what is essentially a free program. We're going to open the last, which is the bed final without panels. It's got a few panels in it, so you can kind of see where I was going with the drawings. This ended up being the box that I had to cover the diesel heater with. This is where the inverter goes. This is where the water heater is. This panel has fuses. This panel has none, but the water lines are back here to go to the water heater. So we will drop into the final with panels so you can see what we got. And I'll just rotate this around a bit. So that is where I ended up with the drawings. This is how the bed is laid out with the extruded aluminum. So if you look over on the side here, you can see all the different pieces that I'm using and all the panels that are associated with it. So you know every cut piece you have here and its length, and you can give it a good spin and see where that is. So I ended up with the fuse box right here. There's an outlet here, of course, that faces the other way, USB plug here and here. So that is basically the design. From this, I knew how many cuts I had to make. I asked ChatGPT, and I'll give an example of this. I have this many pieces of this length of extruded aluminum. I need them cut to this size. All right, let's go show you how I actually put all of this together. The caveat for doing the design was everything in my van, all my measurements, all my thinking is imperial, inches and feet. The extruded aluminum I bought is in metric.
Oh.
So 30 millimeter was the size I went with. So I had a spreadsheet and long talks with ChatGPT for how to convert that from inches to metric. It worked out really, really well.
That's awesome.
So once I had all the aluminum ordered and I had the design nailed down fairly well, I once again went back to an AI to tell me how to cut it. So this was the part that I really was impressed with. I think I used Copilot for this, but ChatGPT gave me the same answers. You can say, I have this much extruded aluminum, I have this many 5-foot pieces, I have this many 3-foot pieces, and I need to make these cuts. How can I make them so that I have the least amount of wasted aluminum? I haven't been able to find that chat yet, but I'll start it again if I need to, just to show you kind of what I was looking like there. I just want to show an example of using AI to help you make these cuts. These are not the measurements that I did or the pieces that I had. Just an example to show you. So I'm telling it, I'm working with extruded aluminum. I have this many 1500 millimeter posts, this many 700 millimeter posts. I want to make these cuts in inches. Let AI do the conversion for you. How can I minimize waste and account for kerf. Kerf is the amount that the saw blade will waste. So if you have a 24-inch piece, you cut it directly in half. You don't get two 12-inch pieces. You get two pieces that are slightly shorter than 12 inches because that saw blade will cut some out in the middle and you'll have waste there. So you need to account for that. So let's have Perplexity work its magic and make us a sheet to show how we should be cutting. Doing all the converting. And now it's telling me here's what you need to cut on each and the waste that you'll have left over. So there are the cuts that you should do with each bar. It will tell you on the 1500, make this cut, make this cut. Here's the leftover that you'll have. And then it was just a simple matter of building it.
A simple matter?
Simple matter of building it.
I thought it was pretty simple.
Hey, Greta. Now, the work table in the backyard that has the saw on it, if that'll stay. Okay. Going to do one of the legs. Well, actually, two of the legs out of this piece. They're 11 3/4. So we'll mark it at 11 3/4. Take it to the drill. Eye protection. Hearing protection is my iPods. We do have an aluminum blade on the drill, on the saw. We'll mark right where it's going to be. Very loud. I have in the past been known to just line them up and cut. I'm measuring each of these so that I don't get off track anywhere. 11 3/4. And we go again. Repeat, 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 repeat. The aluminum I bought has this plastic stuff on. It peels right off. Kind of satisfying actually. But I figured that catches a little bit of this aluminum, so I got less to sweep up after. This is my makeshift workbench in the backyard with the traffic going by. These are the elbows I'm using for a lot of it. They have these little nuts that go in here. On each side. So screw those in a little bit to get them ready to use. And when you're using these, you can put them so this one will not move down, and that's where you'd put anything weight bearing. But just as an example, they line up pretty well like that. Obviously you can slide that over like that, so you would have your weight bearing there, and it would go in like that. So I'm trying to decide for things that are going to have a panel, would it be better for me to use these so I can hook the panel onto that, or just shall I hook the panel onto this, which is probably what's going to happen. So alright, let's put this together. I think. Okay, so this is the top. You want all of these in before you tighten everything down, because you don't want to have to come and take it out and put something in the middle, but you can. You can. For these, it doesn't really matter because This is just going to be sitting on the ground, and there will be something on top of that to hold, but it'll be sitting on top of it. So this whole thing is pretty well, I'm not worried about anything weight bearing because it's all very solid. This is the other type of connector. See that washer and then that go on there. This will slide under into the aluminum, and you'll put it on like that. It goes in the aluminum like that. Oop. Like that, and then you just tighten it down. So of course we want it in the brace. Bracket in there. And like that. And then you could just tighten it and have that cornered piece like that. Pretty simple. So I have cut these frames down. We'll go over the sizes when I show you the program that I used to design it. Basically the supports are 11 3/4. There's a bunch of them. So easy to cut those. This will be the main part. There's going to be a 77-inch rail that goes across the back. It's going to be screwed into the wall using these type of supports. This will go on the aluminum, and then this will screw into the van wall for support there. It will also be supported there. We've got a little there. Can have some there. There'll be another one of those posts right there. And of course in the back. Blue tape is where it's at. It's lining up right according to plan. Making modifications as we go along. Couldn't decide, should I put that water line on this side or that side? It's going on that side. For one, I think it supports the water pump better, but it also would make it easier to work on that line without having to take this part out. One good thing about the extruded aluminum is these are easy to adjust. So if we're working on something like, I need to move that a little, an inch this way or that way, we can. So this will be open. I'm considering building a box around the water pump, considering leaving it just open and putting things around it, cleaning it up a little bit. We'll figure that out. There'll be a panel back there to protect everything, and then one, of course, going around the water heater. Decided to do this side first because it's easier than doing this side that has all of the electronics and wiring, etc. There are three lines over there that run to the rear TV. They are not in the way. They're just going to be tucked over behind the water heater. No problem. This HDMI line now makes no sense. It feeds from there to there, and there's nothing on this end, so that HDMI line will come out. I'm not sure about the other one because it's back there and connects to there, and I'm not ready to rip it out yet. Batteries. So the next step is to figure out how much of this foam can I cut away so I can get as much storage under here as possible. Again, this is just going to be open storage. The floor rails will be, did I mention they'll be connected like that? Same as we're going to do in the back. Before you seal up anything like this, where you're closing that in, make sure you have all of your connectors in that you need. I'm using these little elbow things that I'll show you. That will not work there once I have the bed rail on it, but it's working to hold it in place now. And that's what I'm using in spots like that. Obviously I have the triple there. It's tough to see in the light, but it connects three together, like so. So that will make the rail length need to be what, 30 millimeters shorter? Is that right? No, 3 millimeters shorter than the 77 inches, about an eighth of an inch that will take off there, and not on the other end, as it'll be have that three-way or two-way connector rather than the three. You'll see in the plans. So all of that's going to be back. I'll have 6 inches of space coming out. Just have to figure out how wide this will be, and it will be open in. Change of plans on that rail, at least. The back bed rail, I was going to use these. I mount them under like that. But I think I'm just going to drill a hole like that where the beams are, and use some self-tapping screws down in there. Can you see? Okay, like that, and then just secure it to the van like that. A little out of focus. Let's try this. So self-tapping screw. I may put a washer in there. So that it would look like that. But I think that's going to work just as well. I might do both, but I'm definitely going to do this. And I'll need to remember to put the angle brackets in wherever there's going to be a beam coming across. Because once it's on the wall, there's no putting anything else in there. So I got to figure that one out first. For now, I'm going to take blue tape and tape where each of the holes needs to be drilled. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we'll just use something over here to hold that one up as well against that wall. So I went out and bought a dozen because we'll do, 5 on each side, a couple of extras. Let's get with the blue tape. I bought this guide from Amazon where everybody gets everything. And it just fits into the aluminum. Goes over where you want the hole drilled. And then it has a bit to drill through that. I have put a zip tie because I don't want to drill the big hole all the way through. I just want the little one to go through first. So it doesn't really matter which side we drill on that iron as long as we do it the same on each side. My drill battery is a little bit low. I've got the second one charging. But we will demonstrate here. Try to center as best we can. And then told you my battery was low. And that one vibrated loose. I don't like that. Almost there. That's it. I have a hole like that. Then we'll do the same thing on all the other ones. Part of that build was figuring out how do I frame in the water heater and the, what's that called? And the inverter. So I settled on some ABS plastic that I mounted to the extruded aluminum. Show you how we did that. And everything just fit so super well. And then I built the box to go over where the diesel heater was, which I'll show you that too. So what we've done with the teardown. Well, first the bed frames are built out. It's a mess, but the bed frames are done. They're put together. They're secured. We're building the box. I think we talked about that. Once I got the bed all in and it's time to put the covers on, then I had to mount all the plugs and the breaker box, and I put in some new USB ports just to keep things, you know, usable. For the covers of the bed, I bought some 1/4-inch ABS plastic on Amazon. Of course, I'll include that link. Very impressed with how this is working. I'm drilling holes in the plastic and using self-tapping screws to go through those holes into the extruded aluminum right down in the middle to hold all these panels on. This panel will go here, down in there, and that is where the fuse box is going to mount. And then there will be a two outlet box there. So today's task is to get the fuse box ready. I'm going to prep the wires. Hopefully I'll have time to start getting it wired up. Fits in very nicely, like so, and then it will just go right there. So the wires have been cut to length. The wires have been kind of pulled back. So next we will just take off the insulation and pull them into the fuse box, and then, into the breaker box. And then we can secure that to the aluminum. Everything's wired in, everything works, except for the receptacles. This powers the outside receptacles are here. I don't know about that one. I'm not sure. I think that is that one works on here. That is for that receptacle, and likely that receptacle. This is not long enough to do it with it out, so I need to install this, and then I'll be able to connect that in. Not a problem. Okay, I had a little battle with that fuse box to get that breaker box panel on, but everybody decided to cooperate, so that is long enough, as it turns out, to get in there. So I have to get in there and get that wired up. I need a little bit more light, I think. So that is the view when you open it. I am not sure if that is going to stay silver. It might go black, you know, because it's very shiny there. Either we'll get a black one or paint this one with some Plastidip. But there it is. It is put together. And I do not hate it. Let's see what Cindy thinks. Okay.
Look at that, baby. Oh my gosh. Look at it. Looks so good. Look at that. Oh my gosh. You're so awesome.
Look at that,
So awesome.
right?
That's amazing. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look at it. Look at it. Come on.
That's pretty
Remember
awesome.
what it looked like when you first ripped the couch out?
Oh, I remember.
Look at this. I love this. It looks so
I think it looks
good.
pretty good. I don't even hate the silver.
I don't hate the silver at all. No.
There's a little splash of, pay attention to me.
Oh my gosh. Is that an antenna?
That's a magnet because I keep dropping screws.
Oh.
You might even notice that it's got some of the rubber stuff already put in.
Look at that.
Down around this one. There.
So good. These aren't going to be covered, right? No, that's just
That's
all
open.
space.
That's
Yeah.
open storage, yeah.
Okay, so it's just ready for the
It's
platform,
ready to have the platform
and
put
the
on.
mattresses.
Yes, ma'am.
and then we're ready to go. Oh my gosh, this is so good. You did so good.
I am very proud of it.
You should be. You should be
I am
so
very
proud
proud
of
of
it. That
it.
is amazing.
So,
That is amazing. And
So
that's
I'm-
plenty of room in there.
what do you need all the room for?
And then look at all the storage. So much more storage than there was when it was a couch.
There is, yeah. Because you didn't have as much here, for sure.
Right.
And then you didn't have this.
Yeah.
And then you had to flip the seats up to get to anything under there. And now
Yeah.
you just plop your storage bins and shopping bags under there and away you go.
I love it.
Once the electrical was hooked up and tested, then it was time to put the plywood on top of the beds. I hinged that along the sides so we can lift up and get underneath. One thing I'm really, really bad at is remembering to get the camera when I'm doing stuff. How am I going to tell the story if I'm not telling the story? But yesterday, I went to Home Depot and got some 1/2-inch birch plywood. Had them cut it 77 across the top and then just whack that in half. They came pretty darn close. And I was able to take that top and cut that in 4 3.5-inch strips that are going to go along the back of each bed here. And then I'll piano hinge that. Of course, those will be attached with self-tapping screws into the extruded aluminum. And then the piano hinge will connect to those. Obviously, with it being 48 inches wide, I didn't have enough to make it one long 48-inch or 77-inch strip. So I cut it down to 32.5, and I'm going to say 42 3/4 because I don't remember. But we'll secure that to the back, hook up the piano hinge, hook the piano hinge to this, and I believe that's going to be the end of it. So one thing I discovered through this is my aluminum pieces are 77 inches long, but they also have a 1/4-inch end cap on each of them. So I'm 77.5 inches total. That worked out really well because now this wood can be centered on there and still be able to lift without catching any of this material. I don't plan on lifting them a lot because you can get to all the storage from underneath that you need to. But we'll be able to lift that up if I need to work on anything. So it's all in. The ABS plastic was all done. The USB ports are in. The power's back on. The breakers are done. This is the last piece besides actually getting the mattresses and putting them in. So hopefully I'll remember to film a little bit of this process of screwing everything together. So I'm going to go grab my boards that I cut. We're going to lay them out here, make sure they work, and then I'm going to mark where these holes should be drilled to put the screws in. Don't really need a lot to hold it in place because it's just going to be like this most of the time. I probably overbuilt on my aluminum, is what I'm thinking. You may never hear that, but there's a lot going on here. As far as stability, but it's not coming apart. I'm quite certain it's lighter than the sofa was with those boxes in, so we're all good. I can see now that this kind of bows in here because it's pressed up so tight against this carpet piece there. This will go on here. But that might not be a problem. But I might just cut a little bit off of there. I don't know if I showed you yet, but I also took these floor tiles that we got with the Airstream, and we put those in the back just as a protectant, and it kind of carries the look through. It looks really good. You saw Cindy's reaction to that. So, all right, let's get those boards out here and measure where we're gonna put those holes. But I also left the aisle parts of the bed open so that we can just slide stuff under the bed with the extruded aluminum there, and there's no more lifting things up to get it down in there. And we really don't take that much inside the van with this. That's a video that's coming up soon, is how we do pack everything. So yeah, beds are in, beds are done. So what do you think of the beds now that they're done?
I think they're really great. They're comfortable. So yay for Brooklyn Bedding, or RV Mattress by Brooklyn Bedding. They're right now, because it's very chilly outside and it's chilly in here, they're kind of firm. It's like it has to warm up before it sinks in. But no, I think they turned out great. I'm quite impressed. I'm very proud of your bed making skills.
Thank you.
Yo.
We did go to a van rally, and these were kind of the hit of the rally. So I'm proud of them. They're very functional. They look good. I have since put in lights. So we have the accent lights under the bed, which really, I think it looks good. And it also makes it so you can see what's under the bed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you're thinking of doing it yourself, you've got all the information that you need to do it. It's for you.
They did turn out really great, though. And I think you forgot to mention that because of the certain things that are under my bed, which this is my bed.
Oh, I did forget that.
I was nervous about sleeping on that stuff. So he put Faraday cloth on my bed frame, on my bed platform, right? Is
I
that
did.
what it's called?
And
I
Faraday,
don't know if it helps, but I feel better.
Faraday is to keep the electronics from getting through. So, and there are people who say, "Oh, that's an entire scam," but we used Faraday cages and stuff like that when I was in the in military intelligence. I tested this Faraday cloth by wrapping one of my phones in it and trying to call the phone, and the signal would not go through. So,
That's so cool.
there is at least some blockage there that's helping out. So we sleep a lot better in the bed than we did on the couch, as you would expect.
Right? Oh, yeah, much better.
And we're not having to make the bed right before bedtime. The beds are always made.
They're always beds, and I
They
love
are.
that.
So it's worked out really well for us.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching. Give us a like and a subscribe, and drop a comment if you need any more information about these beds or anything to do with this van. No, you can only do that out the back.
Out back?
Out the...
Oh.
No,
I can only
you
do
can
that
only do that in the backyard. That's
Well,
the only way that camera
that's
works
specific.
like that. That's good.
There, that's our thumbnail. Hey, what's going on? It's sniffing my head.
Okay, she's ready.
She's ready for her close-up.
Oh. Okay, you good to go with that?
Yeah.
I'm going to start over.
Okay. Where's Jim? Is that side door open?
Yeah.
So he's probably gone. All right.
There he is. We found the dog
Hey, bud.
because he had to go find all
Where
the
were
toys that
you?
we keep in the van.
Where were you? I was worried.
To take an inventory. If we
Chat GPT, don't you just love it?
right,
It's a great time to be alive.
he's over here now.
He did escape.
He did.
He's okay.
Jimmy's on the run. So the water tank, nope. Greta's jealous.
Don't you dare think about jumping out there. I'm going to put her out there, though.
Okay.
She wants to wander around,
Or
too.
maybe put him in and close the side door.
They're okay. Uh-oh. You're going to have to edit that out. So you used their free program, but you didn't buy any product from them.
That's 100%
Okay, you're that
correct. I am. If it's free, it's for me. If it's expensive, I'm going somewhere else. That here,
Okay, wait, stop. You're going to start over with that in just 1 second. Just bear with.
The dogs have had their screen time. Oh, they're getting in the van.
What?
Just trying to figure out what's going on. What was I saying? And then I've got another panel here somewhere. I'm sitting on it. Well, that figures. You're not recording, are you? You are.
Bye. Wait. Greta wants to say bye.
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 Oh, Greta, you're so cute. How's that?
Good.
And scene.